Well, why don't we get started? Welcome, everyone. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carl, if you'll do the roll, please.
Robert Mueller,
Here.
Dina Kryler, Jan Braun, Sarah Menard, Mary Beth Ferguson, Kelly Fowler. Here. Laura Oliver. Here. Michael Hankins.
Here.
Kathleen Walsh.
Here.
Beth Caldwell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okey-doke. You have the agenda before you. Are there any additions to the agenda?
If there aren't any changes to the agenda, I move that the agenda be approved as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mike seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. You also have the minutes from our December 15th meeting in front of you.
Move to approve.
Laura, second?
Second.
Kathy? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, any citizens to be heard?
I have a question.
Okay.
Is there a meeting after this?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I hope dinner. Okay, Sandra, are you ready?
Yes. Sure.
Papers. Thank you. I'll get you. Can only hold so many kids. Kelly, how are you? Good. I haven't seen you.
Passed out.
Nope, that's what I just passed out.
Okay.
Hey Sandra, before I forget, the Great Day St. Louis segment was really nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was able to watch it online.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you thought so. Did anybody watch this?
No, not
before
yet.
me?
We can start it.
Yeah, sure, let's, I'll be talking about this in just a minute, but this is the new commercial that is not even been aired yet, although Mike and Bob have seen it.
Can everybody see it okay?
Ready for a break? Take a winter getaway to historic St. Genevieve, where you can snuggle up in one of our charming bed and breakfasts, explore the nearby shops and attractions, and truly get away from it all. The perfect romantic getaway, and only 1 hour from St. Louis.
We got all that in 15 seconds.
That was a lot.
Yeah, good job.
I actually had 2 or 3 more words that they cut out.
Well, after our last meeting, we had a Tourism Tax Commission meeting. We had a discussion about how to change that focus for the January, February, March time period where we don't have a lot of events going on. And that's why you saw a little bit different focus in that clip than what we had done before.
I think it turned out very, very well. Kudos, yes, absolutely.
So, to take it from the top then, let's see what I can. To take it from the top, you have in your packet there a sheet of the statistics for the whole entire year for the Welcome Center. So our December number, of course, was better than last year. So I didn't even bother to compare to last year. But our December for 2014 was 943 guests. Our year-to-date finished at 20,506. This is the first time that St. Genevieve has finished over 20,000. I feel like this is sort of a milestone for us.
Now, these are visitors to the well.
Correct, correct.
These are individual visitors to the Welcome Center. And so the December 2014 was up over 2013, of course, but it also represented a 10% increase on the year over the 2013, or excuse me, over the 2013 figures. 18,630 versus 20,506. So that was pretty exciting to see that play out, and we're running pretty strong in January already. Of course, we've been blessed with much better weather this year, so that's just good news. Last weekend on Saturday, downtown was hopping. I heard the wineries were busy as well. So this is all good. But so golf course was busy, I know.
Downtown was busy Saturday.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people walking around. It was really nice to
Yeah,
see.
nice to see.
Yeah.
In January, because it's our off season, you know.
The weather was
It, yeah, it helped a lot. So even in January, you can see 2014, we had 343 in January. And I think as of today, as of the 20th, we're within about 50 people of that number for last year. So we're hoping for good things for January. And knock on wood, that Mother Nature will continue to be kind to us. So, passport sales, I just wanted to let you know that we sold 29 adult passports in the month of December. Normally, we don't sell passports at this time of year, but we did have a number of people who were in for the Holiday Christmas Festival who maybe just had time to see one or two things in addition to all the other activities. And we explained to them, of course, that they can save some money with their passport and they can come back to St. Genevieve when they have a little more time, and some of the historic sites are open, you know, that are closed during the winter because they don't have heating in them. So we're, you know, kind of glad to see that, and I'm trying to encourage the staff to, you know, to continue to push people who might be interested in seeing one or two things to buy that passport and then come back to St. Genevieve to see the rest of it. So I just got back from the American Bus Association meeting. That was a trade show. It was their national trade show, and it was in St. Louis. Laura also went to it, and it was very busy, very well attended. I feel like it was definitely worthwhile for us. You know, they always say that these are long-range relationship development opportunities, and that because you're talking about group tour planners who are planning a year out, sometimes 2 years out, not to expect anything in the short term. However, I'm happy to say that we had one, and she actually just today called and we went over all the details for her itinerary, who has added St. Genevieve to a tour that she's doing this year in May, and possibly also one in June. So she's from Kansas City. She plans tours to St. Louis all the time, and she's going to drop down and do St. Genevieve. I also talked to some who were interested in doing overnight tours. Again, that would probably be a 2016 itinerary, but in general, I think it was the right thing to do. It was in our backyard. It was right here in St. Louis. The State Division of Tourism was underwriting some of the costs for us to participate, and they are also underwriting some of the costs for St. Genevieve Tourism to participate in a Travel South promotion coming up in a couple of months. So outreach.
Didn't you and Mickey were on the bus from Kimmswick or something on this one?
Yes, yes.
What was that?
Well, that was us making the best of a difficult situation. That's what that was. I was trying to arrange it so that one of the pre-conference FAM tours that was arranged from St. Louis to go to Kimmswick might also include St. Genevieve. And because of the way the conference schedule was and the American Bus Association's rules about how long the people can be gone before they have to, you know, be back at the exhibitor floor, and you know how that goes. They're trying to keep all of their constituents happy. They would not allow that FAM tour that went to Kimmswick to also go to St. Genevieve and then come back. However, they would allow for us to get on the bus and talk about St. Genevieve. So that's what we did. On a Saturday morning, I left here at 6:30 and met the bus in St. Louis, rode down to Kimmswick. Mickey Ketting, dressed up in her French colonial outfit, and met us in Kimmswick. And the plus side of it is that we got a very nice breakfast at the Blue Owl, and I met the woman who runs the Blue Owl. She was very, very gracious, and we pledged to work together as Kimmswick and St. Genevieve in the future to bring line tours down 55. So we did talk with them. We showed the St. Genevieve video that we show at the Welcome Center on the bus, in their audiovisual system. Mickey talked to them in her French colonial outfit, and I passed several of them in the next couple of days during the appointments and, mingling at the booths and such. And they were all very interested. And of course, we're following up with packets to all the people that.
About how many companies did you get to talk to during those 2 days?
I would say personally, maybe 40. And then you get, additional leads and so on from it.
Were they predominantly in the 7-9 state region here?
Yeah, so we were able to identify, it's kind of like Match.com. You're saying this is what I would like, and they're saying this is what I would like, and wherever the two meet, then it's a perfect match, right? So we met with several. I know Laura also met with several, and then there are some that you don't get to meet with, and there were a few that it was really supposed to be bad weather on that Sunday, and I think it scared a few people away. So we're doing some follow-up too. 7-minute appointments, and the loudspeaker is going all the time. You have 30 seconds. You should be at your next appointment now. So it was really what'd you say?
It was good.
Interesting.
Like we said, it was quite a rush.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It was. I would say before I did it, I was a little intimidated, and that
Yes.
doesn't happen often.
Yeah, it's intimidating. There's like 1,500 booths,
Yeah.
and it's intimidating. And everyone, it's one of those situations, everyone seems to know what they're doing, and there's mailboxes, and then there's a resource room, and
It's not like the first day of high school when everybody comes in to find their
It's
life.
kind of like the first day of high school.
it was our first day.
Seems like
wasn't
everybody
it?
else knows what
Yeah.
they're doing, and you're just learning the ropes. But then once you got into it, it was very
It was fun.
energizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get a list, is there a booklet of all the bus companies that were there? You had that? Okay.
So yes, I tried, and I know Laura probably did the same, to identify those that had itineraries that were going through, especially the I-55 corridor. And if I couldn't identify those, then I also looked at ones that are going to Branson, because people are coming from all over the country to go to Branson. And sometimes they want a little something different, and they might not mind, veering off the straight shot to Branson to do that. So just never know. The seed has been planted, and we'll hope that it takes hold. So just got back from that, and the Holiday Christmas Festival, thank goodness, was much stronger this year than it was last year. We had a 16% uptick on Saturday at the Welcome Center in terms of total number of guests. And I know that the merchants downtown, Kathy, Kelly, Beth, Saturday seemed to be a pretty strong day for everyone that I talked to.
Yeah.
And for those who perhaps missed it, the Great Day St. Louis was here the first week in January, and our segment aired on January 9th. If for any reason you missed that on TV, and then it was featured on our Visit St. Gen Facebook page. So if you missed it on TVN social media, it is now on the landing page of the Visit St. Gen website. So if anyone goes to Visit St. Gen, they can click the video right in the middle of the page and still watch that little segment. It featured, of course, what's new in St. Genevieve. So it talked about the ASL Pewter, it talked about Audubon's Restaurant, and the new owners of the Steiger House Bed and Breakfast were interviewed on it. And the Bolduc has a new roof, so they capped off the segment with a little few seconds in front of the Bolduc, talking about how it's the oldest building that's open for tour, but it has a new roof on it, so we were very excited about that. This is funny, but a true story. The second, I mean, Megan and I were watching it live, from the computer in the front of the Welcome Center. The second that they were going off air, the phone rang, and some lady had seen the 800 number, up at the end of the segment, and literally was dialing her phone like this, because the guy was still saying, it was a lot of fun at St. Genevieve, and the phone rang. So that was pretty exciting stuff.
I saw John Stuckey was on Great Day
Yes.
St. Louis, so we've had 2 of them in January.
And I didn't see John Stuppy either, but
I saw it,
yeah, I heard about it from him, actually.
Yeah.
As in, did you happen to see it?
Yeah, lots of celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, MoDOT, I think I included in your packet a copy of the letter. I'm sure everyone heard all the ruckus in January about the proposal by MoDOT to consolidate there are 5 different signage programs across the state for all different sorts of traffic generator purposes to direct traffic off the interstate at the right place to get to a range of historic attractions, lodging, all kinds of things. And there was, I'm sure it started out correctly enough that they were trying to consolidate it from an administrative standpoint. However, it turned into a proposal that was rumored if you had fewer than 1 million visitors in a year, they might take away your signage on the interstate. Turns out that was never actually true, but they did back off on some of the plans that they were proposing to reduce availability of signage for some of the smaller attractions and rural attractions. So a lot of it will stay the same. I'm sure from their standpoint, some of the behind-the-scenes things will change. But so there was a copy of the letter that I prepared for the mayor to send out to MoDOT. And the poor guy from MoDOT was actually on vacation when all this broke. And so I'm
His or her
That had
deputy
to
probably
have
had
been
fun.
planned, right?
yeah, right. Well,
It's like the Friday evening news releases out of Washington.
yeah. So, so I actually spoke to him on the day that he got back from his vacation to make sure he had gotten our letter and so on. He said, oh, I've got your letter and a pile of them all around my office, and looks like we'll be revising those proposed regs. And I was like, oh, good, well, I'll let you go. So, anyway. Other updates, we're developing the new TV commercial, which you just saw. This is sponsored by the funding from the Tourism Tax Commission, and it was their idea to focus it pretty precisely on the bed and breakfast. And so, as you saw, that's what it is focused on, and also the convenience of the downtown and attractions and so on. So that will be, actually you saw it here for the first time, that will be airing in the next few weeks on KTVI Channel 2, Fox 2, the local Fox affiliate in St. Louis, which offers 10 hours of local news, and that's their top billing in addition to Rachel Ray, and those are the segments that we have targeted for this. Their audience is highly skewed to female, which female 35 to 64, which matches our target demographic. So, let's see. The tear-off maps are at the printers. There is a new business coming. I think at the last meeting I mentioned that this is a new business that is going into the location that was previously held by Sunshine Cakery. And they have photography, and they're also going to be doing walking tours of the historic district. They're going to call St. Genevieve Ghost Tours. And so they're targeting to open up first weekend in April and then be ready to go for the tourism season. So that's kind of exciting and nice to see another downtown shop front filled. And he's also very pro shop small, pro all the things that we're about in the historic district. So I think he'll be a very good addition. Let's see.
You forgot ASL's this weekend.
Yes,
Grand opening.
yes. The ASL Pewter Foundry, the artists at work, they will be having their grand opening up. They've been open on a soft basis for the past week or so, but they're going to have a grand opening this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the 23rd, 24th, 25th. And so I know the chamber is planning a ribbon cutting. Dean is not here. I'm not sure exactly when that is, but I'm sure you'll see more about that on social media. How many have already been to visit the ASL Pewter couple? Well, of course, Mike, right across the
Yeah.
street. It's fabulous. Well, you saw it on the Great Day St. Louis segment. Fabulous addition to not only our downtown, another building that's been empty for years will be filled. It fits right in with our whole French Colonial. It's another thing that groups can visit. In fact, this group that is coming, that I just talked to at the American Bus Association meeting, they would like to include some time to see the artists at work, and that's going to be at the beginning of their required, wink wink, downtown shopping time on the tour. So actually it could be good for you, Kathy, too, because they're going to start up at that part of town.
That sounds
So,
wonderful.
Yeah. So let's see, Tourism Advisory Council, so then there's other pages in your packet. You have some of the year-end figures for downtown restaurant sales tax, shop receipts, and the lodging. For the first two of those, the downtown restaurants and the downtown shopping, we have the bars filled out through December. You can see in December, the downtown restaurants brought in just over $2,000 in taxes this year. See that bar is a little higher than last year, which was $1,800. The shops, the preliminary figure for December is $362. Of course, last year was dismal. We had absolutely no sales tax revenue in December of last year. That was reported. I mean, they might have turned it in with their quarterlies or in
Yeah.
January.
Yeah, I think I went back and Sue looked at that again, and it was zero for that month.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So those two are both up from the previous year, and the year-to-date for the restaurants is going to end at about $36,500, and the shops is going to be at about $9,500. As Bob said, we might get some additional there. The lodging metrics is on the back. We still don't have the December numbers, but we went ahead and filled in October and November. You can see October was slightly up over last year. November was down from last year, and we still don't know about December. The year-to-date through November was $16,971.
Sandra, do you think, because I'm sure there's more than a few merchants and restaurants and maybe even B&Bs, I'm not sure, that do report their taxes quarterly, maybe if we had quarterly reports, because...
Well, we
No.
do these quarterly. I only did it without the December numbers because this would be the quarterly time to do it.
Well,
But I mean, looking at it in quarters instead of months.
by law, by statute of the state, the lodgings have to report at least quarterly, but they must report within that quarter each month. They can't just send in a quarter and say, this is what I did for October, November, December. They have to submit by law what they did for November, for October, for December, if they report quarterly. So you're going to get the monthly in the lodging.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to
But-
sales tax,
Because I mean,
Which I
in
re-
December
which-
2013, you're telling me no shop downtown sold a thing.
No, and it was
So
after
that's
reported.
that's really
Yeah.
misleading.
right, and by sales tax, though, you only have to report it, and I don't know what they do. You have to report what each month is.
Well,
when you send it in.
It
but you-
depends on
but
what
you don't-
your
you report the
sales
whole thing.
are.
Yeah.
If they're
You
above a
report it
certain
as one
amount,
month.
you report a month. If they're below a
Yeah.
certain amount, you
Yeah,
report
and
quarterly.
you don't have to do it monthly for
Yeah.
your sales, for your merchant sales tax.
Yeah.
There's no law that says you have to do it.
That actually might be the answer right there. If their December was below that threshold, maybe they just didn't have anything to report in December. That's-
Are they just, in your merchant sales, you don't have to break out the months. You do it in your accounting, but you just send in, this is what I did for that quarter. So.
Beth, are you suggesting maybe that we do an aggregate of the quarters on ours rather than a monthly? Is
Yeah,
that
and
what you're-
maybe like quarter one,
That's quarter one for us, is October, begins for us is October.
okay.
November, December.
But let's say, quarter one for the state is January through March. And you have to have your sales tax figures in by March 31st, so we're not going to get the figures till April or May.
Right.
So it's hard for us to, I don't know, I'm just having trouble
I
looking at
know.
this knowing that
When we went into this.
they aren't all in yet.
It tends to cause a lot of controversy, and it's never the complete data.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it might be delayed a month or two. Like, it might show December's really great and November's lousy, but maybe November was really great and October was lousy.
It's always
you know.
lagging a month at best, because you're paying that after the month is closed, even if you're on a monthly. You got to remember, this was a sampling that we looked at in both restaurants and shops. We don't look at all of them.
Okay.
And that's why and it's kind of, you look at trends more than anything. So, and I don't know, it's data, and you can look at it quarterly if we want. You're still going to have, it's still going to be.
I'm just saying, I don't know how, is this really fair to look at? Is this really month by month? Is
Well, more over time, it's fair to look at.
trends or?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, we talk on city revenues on a monthly basis, and then, either the county's up or down, or the city's up and down, and you have that same issues going on with just, with all of them, because most of it is sales tax revenue.
Okay, sorry.
That's all right.
As long as we have the individual data and kind of look at trending, I think is important.
Okay, so I think the last sheet of your data set is the Google Analytics summary. And I kept this kind of brief. If you want more data, I went in and tried to do, this shows January to December 2014 compared to January to December of 2013. And to do previous years, I'd have to do separate reports. We could do that, but basically, you can see the total number of sessions this audience overview only includes our main website, the visitstgen.com. So I've added these in down below. So last year, the visitstgen.com main website was 55,061. In 2014, it was 53,500. And then we had an additional 939 on vacation.com and an additional 851 on the iBrochure, for a grand total of 55,289 for 2014. And you can see that in 2014, about 75% of those were returning visitors versus, were new visitors versus returning. And it's about the same.
I think that's been
each
pretty
year.
consistent, that percent new visitors.
Pretty typical.
But most of these are not going the right direction. And bounce rate, you don't want a high bounce rate, you want a low bounce rate. That's where they come in and exit off of the same page. And I know you're looking at maybe doing some rewrites on various sections of that, maybe freshen it up. We've been, what is this, our 5th year on that website?
And we freshen it throughout the year as we get additional data, but I just sent off a whole package of updates to Chuck. And then I know there's a couple of areas that we're looking at consolidating some of the wordier pages. But these negative numbers up here are really only reflecting on the main site. They don't include the part that I added in down there that includes the iBrochure.
What's the vacation.com again?
That's the main site for Madden Media.
Okay.
And so that was like a bonus that our iBrochure is added, the Visit St. John iBrochure is added to that.
You were going to check to see what kind of analytics we could get out of those people.
Mhm.
Did you ever get anything back from them? Any specifics?
That's actually where I got this information. So our total visitors was 55,289 in 2014. And I will, just because the next thing under old business is summary of 2014 advertising. Kathy had asked about this at the last meeting, and I just got all the figures for December today, and I can kind of give you a recap of that, but I'd like to delve into the data a little bit better. We have basically two marketing programs, and so for the period January through December, in what I consider the main marketing program, the city's general revenue support for marketing, we had just shy of 49,329. So that's based on the calendar year, not the fiscal year. Our fiscal year, if you looked at it from October through September, would be roughly 30,000. It just happens to be that they're spending at the front and back of that. And then there's the additional category that we have for, in particular for the grant. And so that, for the period of January through December, totaled 36,152. And those are, Kathy, you were asking in particular, like what kinds of magazines and so on. So like the AAA travel magazines, we tend to focus those through the grant. A couple of reasons that we do that. One is that they're outside that 50-mile radius that they require. And secondly is that they provide direct leads, which they call reader service. And so we're able to show specific results, like increases in reader service leads for one period versus the next period with the grant. So the funds that we tend to do through the co-op grant tend to be more those national level publications, and then the ones that we tend to do through the local marketing tend to be more like the St. Louis publications, Belleville News-Democrat, St. Louis, Webster Kirkwood Times, South
And
County Times.
can you break out, excuse me for interrupting, how much, for example, your office spent on the Belleville News-Democrat, for an example?
Yes.
Can you do it like that?
Yes, but I just got that today, so
Okay.
I wanted a little bit more time to actually pull those out.
That'd be
because
fine.
Each one is in a different segment. The other thing that I put into, one of the other big categories that I put into the main, I'll say the main marketing program is the search engine marketing that we do, like the Google AdWords and keywords that we pay for through Madden Media to drive additional guests to our site that are more highly likely to be, searching on St. Genevieve and so on.
So I guess
Thank you.
you're looking for a report by media, I guess, or in media, where did we advertise?
By item, yeah,
Yeah.
by item, yeah.
Kind of in total of each one, like,
I thought she was looking for the fact that the Webster Kirkwood Times, you spent $200.
That's it.
Yes.
And you got what kind of response from it? The Belleville News-Democrat, you spent $400, but what did you get as a response from it?
And that
I thought
response- yeah.
that was where she was going.
That's
I
where-
could have been wrong, but it wasn't
No.
she said it.
That's what I was trying to say.
Or you spent $2,000 on the AAA magazine, and she gets a definite response, but what kind of response for the 2,000 and compared to the other three?
Yes.
you track your
Thank you.
inquiries.
And
We
in
can send out
addition, then,
information.
when we had those numbers, I foresaw we could discuss it, like we did a little bit at the last meeting, like,
Correlate.
do you ask people where they came from? Do you know people are coming in from the billboards, for example? Do you know
After
people?
she says that, then you could say,
The
okay,
answer's no.
if we're going to do cooperative advertisement, would anyone want to go with this one because we know what kind of response we get
Yes.
from it?
There you are.
Well, I can help you out a little bit there. On the things that we do that are not part of like the AAA magazine where we specifically get a reader service request that says, you know, Laura Oliver from St. Genevieve, Missouri responded to AAA magazine's March issue by asking for information about St. Genevieve. Those kinds of direct correlation between, you know, the ad dollars placed and the reader service that was requested are only going to come from that type of publication. They do not come from the Belleville News Democrat. They do not come from anything that we do in the
But
Post-Dispatch.
If when we have our meeting, we can discuss that. If you say, we spent $1,000 in the fiscal year at Belleville News Democrat, you know if you get people, because you ask them like I do, oh, where did you come from? How did you get here? Nee, nee, nee. And Mike knows and all that. And we can.
I try not to say nye, nye, nye.
Yeah. And I try not to do that either. But we can collectively, I think, I don't want to say brainstorm, but talk it out a little bit and find out where on the street, not the reports from the companies, but who's really getting people from, are you getting people from the Belleville News Democrat advertising?
We have probably discussed this for the last 4 years, and it's very difficult in print media to get that. There are ways you can get approximations by voice or local people saying things. You can look at Google, if you know when it hits the street, you can look at your Google Analytics. Did you get more hits from this area, you know, in the week afterwards? Did it have an impact? If we have an inquiry from the area, you know, I don't know how many inquiries you mail out a year. It's quite a few, but where are those going to geographically? And are they happening around when we do advertising there?
And, yes, but really what I'd like to say, and these graphs are all wonderful, it's just like a report. We spent this much here, and this much there, and that much on this publication, or, you know, we spent $4,000 for Midwest Living. Did anybody, and then we can say amongst ourselves, did anybody see a living soul off of that? Or we spent $50 at Belleville News and the town's full of people from Belleville. What I really want to see is the list of expenditures.
And let me throw another cog in your wheel.
Okay.
We come out with an advertisement on the TV, and I take reservations. But the reservations could be for, which I am taking for May. You know, but the advertisement came out in December. So you'd have to get, and here's the thing. On my website, it says, how did you get to us? And they'll say, from the web. That doesn't mean a doggone thing, but they saw it on TV, and they saw Visit St. John, and they went to Visit St. John, and they went down to lodgings, and they related to that. But if I was to report when I got the reservations, more than likely I would be closer to when they saw it. Now, that doesn't work that well with the Belleville News Democrat, because they do an insert, and people pull it out and hold on to it, and it comes out twice a year. It comes out in the fall, and it comes out in the spring. So in the spring, they pull it out, and they say, well, we're going somewhere in the fall, and not until July do they start booking, and we don't have anything going on in July, and I start getting a bunch of them. And I start getting a bunch of them from the Belleville News Democrat area. So I go, yeah. But every time they say it, they say I saw it on the web. But they saw the advertisement there. So you got to have a little correlation between when it was done, when you're getting the, because I'm different than the rest of you.
Yes, sure.
You have the people who walk in right now, and you can ask them that, and they'll probably say, I saw it on the web.
You're gonna go, okay, how did you get to the web? Well, what were you looking at that got you to the web? But then, and they'll, half the time they'll say, I don't know.
And Mike, it's exactly that scenario that you just outlined, which is why we cannot take a direct cause and effect.
Yeah.
I wish, I mean, I've been in marketing all my life. I wish you could say, if you spend $10 here, you're going to get a customer. It's more along the lines of, are these numbers increasing or decreasing? In general, are we having more people come to St. Genevieve? Are we having fewer people come to St. Genevieve? Is our advertising on the right track? Because it doesn't matter if they saw it in the Belleville News-Democrat, they're not going to take action on that one time. It takes, an average of between 5 to 7 impressions to make someone take action. So even if, I'm happy to give you exactly how much we spent on the Belleville News-Democrat and every other one. But beyond that, we're not going to be able to say.
I understand that.
I know,
just want to see
thought
the
you did.
numbers. I just want to see
You
the
did, I was
numbers.
kind of
And
concerned.
the other thing for a bed and breakfast is different than why they come to a restaurant. If they're here in town, they're gonna go to the restaurant. But why they came to a lodging is because of anniversary, birthday. And there'll be weekends when we'll have 3 or 4 anniversaries and 1 or 2 birthdays, out of all the people that are staying there. Now, when did they see that and put that in the back of their mind? And the guys aren't as good about it as the gals are for booking an overnight stay. But when the guys do it, they also order flowers and boxes of candy, or I go around to the sweet shop and get something, like some strawberries or something.
Conversion study.
It's hard to put it together, but the only thing you can say for it is, are we going up or are we going down?
So that's what conversions studies
That's the
were
only
meant to
thing
do.
that counts.
It's not an exact science.
No.
Right, and to answer the question about the conversion study, I looked into that last summer, and the research specialist that Missouri Division of Tourism uses said we would have to have over 10,000 people who have come to St. Genevieve and their phone number to do a conversion study. And through our sources, you have to have, that means every single bed and breakfast would have to give me all of their guest files with their name and their phone number. And we have 20,000 people in the year, and obviously not all of them spent the night in bed and breakfast, so how many years would we have to go to get 10,000 people's names and phone numbers to do a conversion study?
And you have difficulty with giving out private information for somebody who stays in a lodging.
We're not going to do a formal conversion study. I think there
Can't do
are
it.
ways that you can look generally at it. Again, you look at your website hits immediately after a magazine hits to see if people are writing in. I don't know how many things we,
Well,
fulfillments we
that's the thing,
do.
we have multiple things going on at it. So you couldn't say that tomorrow's, you probably could say that on January 9th, if there was a peak in website visits, it probably had something to do with the Great Day St. Louis segment. But we also had ads in AAA at that time. We also had radio going on the local radio station. So you couldn't 100% say that what you did that day had to do with that day's web traffic.
But you can tell if it had at least some impact.
You could. And
that's what
it
you
would
look
take
at.
additional staff to do what you're talking about. Because I don't have time to watch the
No, the
Google
other
Analytics going
thing
up
you
and
can
down
do-
and up and down.
The other thing you can do, and I did this one year, was I did all of the zip codes.
Yeah, I know we work.
Now, it doesn't tell you when they stayed with me, but it tells you where they're coming from. Now, the bad part about that is that people who work in the city of St. Louis, okay, may live in Illinois, and half of them do. I know when I worked at downtown, half of the people that I worked with lived in Illinois. But you don't know where they got the information, but you know where they live. And you have to go by the fact that possibly they saw it where they live.
You really don't have to look at Google Analytics every day. You can go back and look at an individual day, a week, a month. You can go back 4 years and look at it.
I'm sure you could.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with what you wanted, the list.
Yeah, I just want like a one-pager, no-brainer list.
I'm happy to do that. Like I said, I just got this today,
Yep.
so.
Okay. Let's see.
The chamber training,
Yeah.
there's a page.
Dina had sent me an email with the specifics on the Excel class, which I've included in your packet so that you guys have the information that she had provided. It states in here that the class will be held on Wednesday, February 25th from 6 to 8 at the Business Center at the high school at St. John. Sign-ups can be done through the chamber office by calling Dina or sending her an email. And the sign-ups need to be, the deadline is Monday before the class. And right now, there are 30 spots available for that class. Oh, and it's free to chamber members.
Do you know what it is for non-chamber?
I emailed her and asked her. She said that she would have to check into that to see if there would be a cost or what the cost would be for non-chamber members. And I haven't heard back yet, so.
Okay.
So that brings us to upcoming events. On the back of your notes page, you have a photocopy of the upcoming events that was just released for January through July of this year. So again, this has replaced the monthly upcoming events list and allows people to, if they're here in January, they can plan something for April or May or whatever, as Mike was saying. So these are out right now. They're available through the Welcome Center. Every time I go out, I try to take these out, but if you know anyone that doesn't have any, have them come down to the Welcome Center. We're happy to provide those. They're also here at City Hall. So we have Kings Fall coming up on February 7th. There is information on Visit St. John with details about Kings Fall. There's also a flyer down at Welcome Center. February 14th, of course, is Valentine's Day. There are two big events going on that weekend. First is the Chocolate Walk. This is in downtown St. Genevieve. It's sponsored by St. Genevieve Downtown Renewal. This is where people purchase a ticket, and all of the merchants who want to participate in Chocolate Walk prepare something homemade that's chocolate, not just Snicker bars or anything like that, but something chocolate and homemade. And people get out, they get their ticket, and they go from shop to shop doing the Chocolate Walk, collecting chocolate as they go. And if they can't eat all the chocolate, then they take some of it home with them. They will cap, I'm sorry.
I wanted to just, they're changing that up a little bit this year. They're trying to pre-sell tickets.
A box thing?
They're going to pre-sell tickets at the Welcome Center starting on the 1st of February. Were you starting to say that? I don't know.
No, go ahead.
They're going to have a box, and on the top of the box is going to be all the participating locations, and that'll serve as their ticket. So you can stamp your place on the box when they come in. Pre-sales are going to be $8. The day of is going to be $10, and we're only limiting to 300. So we're going to see how that works out this year.
And the Welcome Center is also participating. So we'll be making 300 chocolate goodies too. So people can start their chocolate fix right there. We participated in it last year too, but like everybody, we ran out, so we had to run out to Country Mart and get some fudge brownies and cut them up.
Does anyone, do you keep track of how many people actually buy something as opposed to just get cookies? Or it's kind
No,
of-
not really. We just, I mean, it's definitely a better day because of that, but not everybody, obviously, that comes in will buy.
The same weekend, we have the Romancing the Grape program on the St. Genevieve Route de Vin. This goes all day Saturday and all day Sunday. Laura, would you like to talk about it?
It's just like all of our other events. You visit each of the 6 wineries, you get a little 3-ounce pour of wine and a little something sweet at each place, and wine specials that day. And tickets are on sale now online. Limited number of tickets are available day of event.
So, and that takes us through January and February. The Bull Duke, as you see in March, I won't go past this, but in March, they are adding a new event this year. We didn't have much going on in March, and they're adding a weaving workshop series over the weekend of March 5th through the 9th. So they have like a beginner's 101 level for weaving, and then they have more advanced, and then they have like a speaker coming in and talking about traditional weaving and so on. So that really sounds like a very interesting kind of a program. So something new in our March horizon.
Had to laugh on Facebook today, somebody posted that they had wove some slippers. And what they'd done is a skein or a skein of yarn.
Yeah.
They just stuck their foot in it.
I like it.
That's my way of doing it.
Okay.
I think I already
what's new.
talked about the
Yeah.
what's new. Working Women's Survival Show, I put this on the bottom of your notes. Tourism Advisory Council members, if you are interested at all in getting involved directly and you're looking to volunteer, we have a couple of things coming up. I've signed us up for the Working Women's Survival Show. This is February 20th through the 22nd. It's in St. Charles. Years ago, St. Genevieve used to participate in this. And then the show kind of went downhill. In the last several years, it's been coming back uphill, and it's a pretty happening place to be again. And so we're looking for people. This is a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And on Friday and Saturday, the show is open until 8 p.m. On Sunday, I believe it ends at 4 or 5 o'clock. So if anyone is interested, let me know. We have some time, so I'm just getting the word out now. But if you know anybody else who has said, hey, I wouldn't mind to help out sometime, we'll take anyone who's interested and give them a role. We'll probably also have some people dressed in French colonial costume there, because that always attracts a lot of attention. That doesn't mean that you have to, though. So if you're interested in all and you've thought to yourself, I'd like to be more directly involved, here's your chance. So we need summer help too. We're going to be continuing the Saturdays in St. Genevieve program this summer that we started last summer. This is to have something to see and experience and hear, something happening on the streets of St. Genevieve on Saturdays in the summer. In addition to demonstrators and musicians and so on that we also had local volunteers who were dressed in French colonial costume to walk around and give out St. Genevieve visitor guides, answer questions, have their pictures taken with people. And then also we had a little social media thing that if people had their smartphones and got their picture taken with the French colonial people, that they could post to their Facebook page and also to our Facebook page, and so drive some social media traffic. So once again, if you like dressing in French colonial costume, or if you have always thought about it, I know someone with a closet full of things that you could take a look at. So don't be bashful. Let me know if you'd like to help out in any way.
When are you going to start the sign-up list for that?
I'm going to start the sign-up during the King's Ball.
Okay.
So I'll have the list with me there. But really, anytime over the next couple of months, Tourism Advisory Council members, if you want to check your holiday or your summer schedule, and if there's any time that you'd like to become involved, and I realize some of you have shops, so that probably couldn't happen, but maybe you have a friend who would like to.
It's a lot of fun. Get to meet people.
And cause a stir, and who doesn't like to cause a stir?
Kind of depends on who I'm stirred.
Okay, anything else? Oh, got the schedule for the meetings listed on the back?
Yeah, Sandra had asked me to go ahead and put on paper what the third Tuesday, the date of the third Tuesday of each month, in the event that the council wanted to go ahead with this meeting time and this meeting, if this date works for everyone, to kind of give you a year in advance to just kind of look at it and say, this is where they fall and
We agreed that this is working, so
Seems to work for people, rather than the Friday mornings.
seem to have better attendance. Okay, any other new business? Comments?
Question. And I know there's no answer to this question.
That's the kind I like.
Is it possible to take the 20,000 people who you count in the visitors center and extrapolate to how many people that might be overall? Not everybody comes to the visitors, what percentage is?
Oh, right, there actually are some rule of thumb figures for that for festival dates in particular. And I know at Jour de Fête, I had done some of that estimating, so.
I wanted to tell someone X number of visitors, it's kind of this sign question,
Mhm.
How do you demonstrate, to, in this case, the state, how many visitors you receive if they're going to put a sign up based on how many visitors come?
You mean like McDonald's sold 1 million burgers
Yeah,
last year?
Well, they probably know pretty close. Others is sample. You can do it by sampling, it's not an exact number, and that's
No.
what they've done, is to set up some ratios by
how many do we
sampling.
have a year?
How many what?
How many visitors? Tourists?
Well, I know that there is a figure, like a rule of thumb, that can be applied. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. We could probably generalize what that number
Well, I'd like
would
to
be.
be able to offer the number with some,
Scientific.
well, just some credit, some a credible number.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's not the number, but it's an order of magnitude. And if there is some kind of generally accepted ratio, physical count to overall visits, that would be something you can rely on.
There used to be one when we used to do the grant, and I think that number was 3.5, 3.5.
That's the first time I've heard that. I'll have to find
When
out.
When we used to do the grant, we would go to Jim Ferguson's house somewhere in time. It would be Donna and myself and Bev and John Oram and Herb Fowler. And we would sit down, and there was a number supplied to us by the state on particular things. And I think the one for the count at, and Fran Ballinger was there at the time, but I think the one for the number at the visitor center was 3.5 times whatever it was. That was the rule of thumb.
You can check with the state.
You might ask Jan or Jim Ferguson if they can remember what it was, or even John Orm. Because we used to sit down and you know, and you can't count bed and breakfast, you know, because a lot of our guests are repeats, even repeats, you know, within 3 or 4 months. And if they were down there 3 or 4 months ago, they're not going to go down there, you know,
Oh, to the visitor center.
to the visitor
right.
center again, because they're going to take their time doing something else.
Do you have a counter in the door system?
No, we do a stroke tally for people coming in.
I
And
wonder how
if
much
somebody
it would
comes in
cost.
twice in the same day, we don't count them twice. A door counter would.
Would count them twice,
Mhm.
but
And most of the time I go in, come out, go in, come out, just because I don't know what.
Just to keep us jumping.
No. Boy, I thought I walked in Sunday to pick up some more brochures, and Mary Elise was like a jack-in-the-box.
Uh-huh.
I think that buzzer went off and she was up.
We have new protocols at the Welcome Center. You must stand and make eye contact and greet them with, hello and welcome to St. Genevieve. It's a new day.
Okay, anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Will everybody
Everybody
adjourn?
wants to leave?
I can make a motion, right?
Is there a second?
Second.
Mike? All in favor, say aye. Very good. Keep enjoying this wonderful weather, pray for more.
Hey, that's for sure.